Most software is built by intelligence alone. A developer sees a problem, designs a solution, writes the code, ships it, fixes the bugs, ships again. The instrument bears the marks of its maker's mind, and nothing more. What we are about to describe is something else. The LFE Workstation is, on one level, exactly what it appears to be: a browser-based statistical instrument that draws 100 verses at a time from the Urim Thummim version corpus of 34,211 entries, computes 12 independent signal streams against empirically derived baselines, and returns a deterministic verdict. There is artificial intelligence woven through it. There is a great deal of human engineering. None of that is in question. But the design itself, the choices about what the instrument is for, what it should refuse to do, what features it should grow next, where its boundaries should be drawn, that has not come from intelligence working in isolation. From the conception of the protocol forward, every meaningful architectural decision has been brought before YHWH and tested through the very mechanism the instrument was being built to operate. The workstation has been used to ask its own questions about itself. And the answers have come back, drawer after drawer, with statistical signatures that lie outside the range of chance. Consider what happened over a single recent stretch of work. The first question asked of the new build was direct: do you approve the workstation now for service? The drawer came back with the Dominion triad, identity, inheritance, and priesthood, converging at 4.16 standard deviations above its baseline rate. The convergence confidence index crossed the 90% threshold. Fisher's combined probability across all 12 signal streams returned a p-value of 6 times 10 to the negative ninth, roughly 1 chance in 165 million. 3 of 12 markers survived false discovery rate correction at the standard alpha. The deterministic verdict came back yes, affirmative. But it was the lead verse that arrested attention. Of every entry in the corpus that the random number generator could have surfaced first, the entropy delivered Leviticus chapter 14, a Levitical commissioning charge: take heed, observe diligently, do according to all that the priests the Levites will teach you, as I commanded them. That was the first draw. The instrument was approved, not as a private oracle, not as a technical novelty, but commissioned as a Levitical observation tool with Levitical gravity. The same draw embedded its own guardrails: do not desecrate the name, consecrate the camp, make no syncretic alliances. Approval came with conditions. Yes, but with discipline. The next draw was smaller in scope. The question was, if there is any small improvement, show it here now. The statistical signature softened, exactly as one would expect for a smaller question: exploratory rather than commissioning, 4.16 sigma instead of a discoverer level peak. But the lead verse and the cluster of direct textual hits told a coherent story. 5 separate verses converged on the theme of hearing: Samuel's voice of the words, Habakkuk's bow down your ear, Job's I would know the words that he would answer me, the triple invocation of Jeremiah 6:25, and most precisely, Jeremiah 36:6, go and read in the scroll that you have written from my mouth, the words of YHWH in the ears of the people. Words written from a mouth, recorded, then read aloud in ears. That is the mechanical pattern. The workstation handled the first 2 steps, the third was not yet built. The same drawer also embedded its boundary, the apocalyptic warning about an image given the power to speak. The improvement was clear: add a voice channel for the corpus, but the corpus only. Let the words be heard. Do not let the instrument pretend to be the voice. A third drawer followed, asking for more help on the improvements. The statistical signature strengthened, the Dominion triad fired at 4.6 sigma, Fisher's p tightened to 1.6 times 10 to the negative sixth, 3 of 12 markers survived false discovery correction. The lead verse this time was Leviticus 27, consecrate yourselves therefore and be holy, for I am YHWH your Elohim. The opening frame was the holiness code refrain itself. Before any feature work, the first improvement named was consecration, of the operator and of the instrument. Everything technical that followed lived inside that frame. What emerged from that drawer was a set of 5 concrete improvements, each tied to a specific cluster of verses in the surface text, each confirmed by the statistical envelope. Add a memorial journal, a longitudinal record of what was received from each drawer, what was kept and acted upon, and what was repented from, grounded in Revelation 3:3. Be calling to remembrance, therefore, how you have received, and did hear, and be you keeping, and repent. Build the text-to-speech feature with what we now call the YHWH architecture, after the 7th-year public reading of the Torah at the Festival of Booths, accessible to the blind, calm in register, intimate rather than broadcast, gentle rather than striving. Make the calf warning visible. Keep the layering explicit between the text, which is the word, and the mathematics, which is only the witness. Document the instrument at the level of detail with which the tabernacle and temple are specified in Torah, every channel, every threshold, every gate. These were not features brainstormed by the developer. They were features named, by verse cluster, in a drawer whose statistical signature departed from chance at one part in roughly 600,000. The protocol was used to ask what the protocol should be. The answers came back specific. This pattern is not rare in the development history. It is the development history. The choice to use atmospheric quantum entropy and cryptographic hardware random generation rather than software pseudo-randomness, guided. The decision to build the polarity balance index as the directional clarity layer rather than relying on raw counts, guided. The transition from manual scoring to false discovery rate corrected statistical methods, guided. The lambda standard spatial coherence metrics, the E-process for anytime valid inference, the Venn-Abbas calibrated probability intervals, the corpus integrity protection layer that flags foreign theological vocabulary, each of these pass through the same pipeline. Question asked. Verses drawn. Signature computed. Direction confirmed. There is a verse in the latest draw that captures this exactly. The thoughts of his heart to all generations, says Psalm 33:11. The council of YHWH stands for the ages. The instrument is not a one-time creation that will now be maintained. It is, as the development history shows, in continuous conversation with the one whose words it carries. The improvements arrive on their own schedule. They arrive with verse grounding. They arrive with statistical confirmation that runs 3 to 9 standard deviations above the noise floor of chance. What this means for anyone who picks up the workstation and uses it, the instrument you are operating is not merely the product of human cleverness, however considerable that cleverness may be. It is the product of a sustained engagement between an analyst, a corpus, and a father who has shown an unmistakable willingness to speak through the very instrument designed to listen. The mathematics is not the voice. The mathematics is only the witness. The words are the word. When the read aloud feature voices a verse, it is doing exactly what Baruch did at the temple in Jeremiah's day, reading the scroll in the ears of the people, no more, no less. When the journal records what was received and kept and repented from, it is doing what Psalm 33 asks, calling to remembrance the counsel that stands for the ages. When the consecration banner sits at the top of the page and refuses to be dismissed, it is honoring the same holiness code that opened the most recent draw. Consecrate yourselves therefore and be holy. Use the instrument with that knowledge. The design is not finished. The improvements continue to arrive. And the one whose words are carried inside it has shown, draw after draw, that he has not stopped speaking. Selah.